Microsoft Flight Simulator can drain your bank account faster than a long haul to Sydney. Aircraft, landmark packs, weather add-ons, signage, payware airports. Half of us are literally eating beans on toast because we had to pay £71 for the next airliner. But some of the best stuff for Microsoft Flight Simulator doesn't have to cost a single penny, genuinely. And honestly, a few of these will improve your sim experience more than the next purchase ever will. Let's do it. First up, we have the Universal Announcer by Fearless Frog. If you've ever flown the Phoenix A320, you'll know exactly how good cabin announcements actually are. The whole flow of it really adds a bigger sense of immersion and makes it feel somewhat real. This little tool plays Phoenix style cabin announcements on basically any aircraft in the sim, whether that's the PMG 737, the iFly, the MD-11, whatever. It essentially auto-detects your flight phase through SimConnect and reads your aircraft's lights, engines, altitude and ground status to work out exactly where you are in the flight. And if you've got SimBrief, it will pull your airline straight out from your last plan. It'll even vary the announcements by aircraft type if you really want to go in depth. Oh, and if you don't have access to sound files of your own, it does come with a default pack that you can use and install with one click. Or you can generate your own announcements using text-to-speech through Windows, Azure, or even 11 Labs. The only downside, however, is that it doesn't really play that nicely with Chaseplane yet. The developers have said that they are open and they're looking into it. It's just that for right now, just know that it doesn't work seamlessly, that's all. But again, for something that is completely free and what it actually brings to the sim right now, this one is a genuine no-brainer. The next one on our list is the MSFS cache removal tool by TankyBank, and I actually stumbled across this one recently and I wish that I had known about it sooner. Every time that MSFS publishes an update, like clockwork, my sim performance would completely tank. Stutters that weren't there before, weird artifacting, frame drops for no obvious reasons, the usual cycle of lowering settings and then blaming the patch. But the actual culprit more often than not was my shader and graphics cache. All the data and stuff your GPU generates as it compiles shaders for the sim, and it doesn't always work when the sim or your drivers update underneath it. This little tool just nukes the lot of it. And the way that I personally use it after a sim update is I'll clear the rolling cache inside MSFS, then delete the scenery indexes folder, then run this to wipe the GPU caches. But of course, this isn't some miracle cure. It's not going to magically give you 30 extra frames if your PC is struggling, and I want to be clear about that. But for those moments after an update where things feel a little bit off, it does help. And really, that's the whole point of this video. But one important thing to note though, this only works with Nvidia GPUs. So if you're on AMD, you'll be clearing your shader cache through the AMD software instead. Or you can try one of the tools that I've linked in the description too. But this is a great tool that you can just download and forget about. And the next time MSFS shoves a patch and your sim suddenly feels like it's a slideshow, you'll know exactly what to do. This next one is a brilliant find, especially when you consider how many liveries on FlightSim TO are still MSFS 2020 only. I honestly don't know how many times I've found a livery, get all excited and then realise that it's 2020 only, which is frustrating, I completely get that. What this does is convert DDS texture files to KTX2 format that 2024 natively uses, and it handles the layout file generation as well, so once it's done you can drop the converted livery straight into your community folder and away you go. I've used this on the PMDG 737, the 777, the E-Jets, the MD-11, and it has worked every single time. To be fair though, the setup is a little bit more involved than a lot of the tools that we're going to speak about in this video. For starters, you will need the MSFS 2024 SDK installed and the MSFS layout generator alongside it. And if you're like me and you're not that technical, there is a tutorial on the download page that walks you through it, and honestly it takes about 10 minutes to get everything set up properly. And also this doesn't work very well with the Phoenix. I believe that's largely down to how the BFU update was and how their packaging works underneath. But once you have this set up, you're essentially getting access to as many liveries as you want, just in a format that 2024 actually uses. Number 4 on our list kind of breaks the format slightly. This one's a website rather than a tool that you would install, but it is such a brilliant resource that I had to include it. Edi-gla. What it is a huge database with 458,590 flight plans, all with proper alphanumeric call signs, all based on actual airline operations. So if you want to fly BA117 from Heathrow to Boston, the plan is right there, with the real route and the real call sign. But it gets better. This has been around since 2005, so you've got 2 decades of historical airline operations to dig through. The older plans do, however, use older air rack cycles, so if you're flying a payware aircraft and you have a Navigraph subscription with current nav data, you might find that some of the waypoints don't match up. Apparently air rack nav data isn't free for them to access, so the older plans just can't be updated. But for what it is, and given that it costs you absolutely nothing, you would be daft not to bookmark this. Number 5 on this list is one that I kind of feel like I need to spend a little bit more time on, and that is AutoFPS. If you've spent any time in the sim, you will know that getting solid performance is something of a constant battle. Finding the right value for sitting at JFK or Heathrow or Hong Kong isn't the right value for cruising at 38,000 feet over the Atlantic. That's what AutoFPS handles for you. It dynamically adjusts your terrain level of detail and other key settings as you fly, based on the target FPS you set and your current altitude. So if you tell it that you want 60 FPS, it will nudge the settings up and down to maintain that. But that's just the surface of it. There's also VRAM protection, which monitors your GPU memory and starts pulling down settings before you hit an overflow, which is a complete lifesaver for me on a 4070 Ti and just 12GB of VRAM, trust me. There's a mountain mode, which extends your terrain level of detail when you're near higher terrain. There's a night mode, which halves your terrain level of detail after dark because literally you can't see distant objects and scenery in the dark anyway. Oh, and there's a CPU optimizer that sets your process priority, CPU affinity and power plan when MSFS launches. It'll also detect frame generation as well, whether that's Nvidia's DLSS, MFG, FSR3 and lossless scaling. All of it just runs quietly in the background as you fly. Now there is a caveat and I have to be clear about some of the downsides. The first issue is that this tool reads and writes into MSFS's memory directly, which is how it can change the settings on the fly without you having to do it yourself. The catch to that is that Microsoft and Asobo have taken the view that this technically breaches their terms of service, so that's just that heads up. If that isn't for you, by all means keep to the dynamic settings toggle in your graphics menu if you want to play it safe. I completely get that. But having used this tool for a fairly long time, I can just swear by it. Number 6 on our list is FlightSim Dispatch. Yes, I get it, it's another dispatch tool. But hear me out for a second. Where Edi-gla gives you actual flight plans and the real call sign and the route to load from, FlightSim Dispatch is more of a discovery tool. And what you can do is filter through the different options. Pick a departure or arrival airport or both, set an airline you want or leave it, and you have flights all the way back to 1950 up until 2025 to choose from. So if you fancy flying the MD-11 or the TriStar or the 727, that data is waiting there for you to find it. They've even put together ABC or ABC World Airways Guide and AOG or Official Airline Guide timeline books, data that has been pulled into FlightSim Dispatch coming from genuine published schedules airlines were running. And there's a random flight button which I have totally never used. It's a great little companion for Edi-gla, and when you use them together, you can literally recreate basically any real world flight that has ever existed. Now, full disclosure, Mrs. Fuller thinks that I have ADHD and OCD, and if I'm being completely honest, when it comes to my community folder, she's not entirely wrong. That's not even without mentioning the TV volume, which is a topic for another day. Does anyone else get really annoyed with the volume at an odd number? Anyway, I just can't throw things into there. Everything has to be organised and structured and categorised, or my brain literally refuses to have anything to do with it. If that sounds remotely like you, then this is a solid option. What it does is give you a proper way to organise all of your MSFS add-ons outside of the community folder. Folders, subfolders, by region, by aircraft, by airline, whatever works for you. But something else that's really handy with this tool is that you can actually make presets. Essentially, you can build different setups with which add-ons are active, save them, and switch between them with a single click. So like for example, you might want a European preset, or a US preset, or even an empty preset for when MSFS updates and you want a clean community folder so that the patch doesn't choke on anything. I will say though, in fairness, this isn't quite as essential for MSFS 24 as it once was for MSFS 2020, and that's partly down to better loading speeds and how the newer sim handles content slightly better natively. But if you're like me and you've got years of accumulated FlightSim junk and want a proper way to sort it out, this is a very good option. And it's been actively updated with over 549,000 downloads in FlightSim TO, which should tell you everything that you need to know. Number 8 on our list is iFly schedules. Yes, I know it's the third route finder I've covered, but it takes a slightly more visual approach to discovering flights. Pick an airline, pick an aircraft type, and then the tool plots every route that it can that the airline operates onto the world map. You can also filter by destination airport, arrival airport, minimum and maximum distance, and flight length in terms of hours. And then, once you've found that flight, you can click it and it will give you the call sign. I get it, I'll be honest, it's not as deep or historically rich as FlightSim Dispatch or Edi-gla, but there are still 13,000 plus routes and 66 airlines, which is not nothing. I kind of just find that it does a better job visually overall, so this one is still worth a bookmark for later. Number 9 on our list is Ground Handling Database by Squawker Boy. This one is genuinely a deep cut, I get it. Even by FlightSim standards, it's niche. But for the right kind of person, I think it's pretty good. If you use GSX Pro, you'll know that when you arrive at the airport, GSX gives you literally so many options for who handles your aircraft on the ground. And the single biggest thing that I struggle with was knowing which one to actually pick. I'll be honest, I literally never have a bloody clue. And then there's the parking stands as well, which is its own little nightmare too. And that's where this thing comes in. Just type in the ICAO code for the arrival and departure airport, the airline that you're flying, and it will tell you exactly which ground handler that airline uses at each end. Stand area, catering provider, the lot. And it's pulled from real world contracts, so that's nice to know as well. You can also import directly from your SimBrief plan, and it even displays live VATSIM and IVAO traffic if you fly on those networks. And honestly, once I have used this once, I kept coming back to it. So definitely give this a bookmark too. As always, links to all of these tools will be in the description to save yourself Googling. And also drop your favourites in the comments below as well, as I'm pretty sure that there will be tools out there that deserve a shout out. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to see more content like this, I've got a video for you to watch right here. I'll see you in there. Try not to crash.